Hey Screenwriters. First of all, I want to sincerely apologize for taking so long to post a new YouTube video. As you can imagine, things have been a little crazy in the world, and in particular in my household. My girlfriend's a nurse, and we've had 2 separate COVID scares where we had to isolate her in my home office, and that's the room that I do my YouTube videos in. So for a couple of weeks there, I wasn't able to shoot anything. I couldn't even get into the room. Everything is fine. They were both false alarms, but it set my schedule back for shooting YouTube videos. To complicate matters, we're moving soon, and the office that I shoot my YouTube videos in is now filled with boxes. So for the time being, I'm shooting in my living room just to get this message out. Secondly, a lot of really interesting things have happened in the world of film and television that I've been a part of and that I wanted to share with you. I've been really lucky to have some pretty big development meetings at some studios and at some production houses in Canada. And these aren't small production houses or studios, these are pretty large ones. And the only reason I'm saying that is not to gloat, but to tell you some of the things that I've learned that may impact your writing in terms of trends that are happening in the industry. So the first big trend is that the obsession for IP is still there. So networks are still actively looking for, studios are still actively looking for existing IP properties that they can adapt to television or for movies. And that's great if you're an artist or a comic book writer that may have an existing IP, or maybe you have a YouTube channel with a web series that you can pitch to a studio that you maybe have a large audience for. That's awesome. But for most screenwriters, in particular someone like myself that writes original things, it's still not good news. The obsession for IP is still hampering new screenwriters, it's still hampering new ideas. Hopefully that will come to an end, but I don't think so, because coming out of COVID, I think a lot of production houses, a lot of studios, a lot of development executives are going to be very risk averse. So they're probably going to double down on existing IP things because they see it as a less risky move than investing in a new writer with a new idea. But over the last 2 weeks, something major has happened that may actually open the door for new ideas. So as you're aware, there are protests in the States. Actually, there's protests globally against police violence. Well, one of the interesting casualties of these protests are that studios and networks are looking at their police procedurals and saying, is there still space for them on network television? Is there still going to be an audience for police procedurals now that the role of police is being questioned in society? The interesting thing was that a few weeks before all this happened, I was talking to development executives that were saying police procedurals and medical dramas are still the number 1 and 2 things they're looking for. So it's safe to say that there's probably going to be an increased demand for medical dramas to fill the gap in terms of police procedurals. So if you have a medical drama, now's the perfect time to pitch it, because they may be looking for that safe, comforting format to bring back to television, to continue to bring to television, now that police procedurals are sort of up in the air. It also is interesting that if you have a police procedural that you're pitching, maybe now is not the time to pitch it unless you have a really unique spin on it. So those are 2 really interesting things that have happened over the last couple of weeks that I've been involved in, that I've heard about, that I wanted to relay to you. Again, these weren't low-level meetings, they were pretty high-level meetings, and that's the only reason I'm sharing this to you, because I think that the information is still valid and important for you. The other thing that happened was that the way I got these meetings. So these meetings were not a result of people reading my screenplays or my scripts or my pilots. These meetings were a result of people reading my pitch decks. And what's become really apparent to me is how powerful a really great pitch deck can be in terms of getting you a meeting. So much so that I'm actually going to be doing a video in the future, probably once I move into my new apartment, in terms of how I go about creating pitch decks that have gotten a lot of attention. And again, the only reason I'm mentioning this is because more than one senior development executive has reviewed my pitch decks and said, these are some of the best pitch decks we've ever seen. And one of the best compliments I've ever gotten in my life, one of the senior development executives at a major studio said that my pitch decks were better than some of the pitch decks done by some major writers in Hollywood. So I'm not saying this just to pat myself on the back, and I kind of am, but I'm saying this in terms of I want to be able to share with you my pitch deck strategy when I'm working on a pitch deck for a screenplay or an idea that I'm developing. I also want to take this time to thank all of you, especially new subscribers that have jumped on board, even though this channel has not been active over the last couple of weeks. And in particular to those of you that have reached out to me personally, asking, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? Everything is absolutely fine. Like I said, we just got busy at home, and with all that's going on in the world, it's been sort of hard to get into doing YouTube videos, but I'm hoping to get back into it once I move into my new apartment. So that's it for this video. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, drop them in the box below. Happy writing.